Peace and love, world. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Zoe. This is episode 62 titled, That Time I Failed Out of Grad School. Not a lot of people know this story. My close friends know this story. My mentors know this story. But it's actually a pretty amazing story because my life has been great ever since I failed out of grad school. It was a learning curve. It was something that God put me there and the universe put me there to learn something. So there was a skill that I needed further down the road in life that I was going to learn through failing. So through failing is actually where you learn the most. So me failing out of grad school being the best thing that ever happened to me is because look what came after it. So I was doing really well. Well, I obviously wasn't, but I had a 2.9 GPA. And as you know, in grad school, you need a 3.0 and above, right? I was admitted on academic probation, so I could actually not afford to do that. You know, if it would have happened my second semester, they would have been a lot more lenient towards that. But because it happened both semesters, you know, I did a lot better my second, but either way, he could have admitted me back to the program. But, you know, if you know Mark from the city, he's actually not there anymore, he's fired. But if you know Mark from the City College of New York MPA program, you know, he was actually the head of the program too. He was not only one of the teachers, he was the head. So he says you out, you out. But it actually works in my favor because that program at the time actually was not an accredited program. So kind of dodged the bullet in that, you know, I would have had a master's from a place that wasn't accredited. So my master's means what? Nothing. Even though knowing me, it would have meant the world. And that piece of paper is what you make it, not what it makes you. With that being said, let's go to May, right? I took my finals. I did my thing. I crushed some finals. We had some teachers who never taught nothing really, but were the toughest graders in the world. So it didn't make much sense, but that's life. So as we move forward, this is May now, right? Like I said, we had to do internships. You could do it in the city or you could do it in DC. Right? Now, you find this internship by yourself. And where City College comes in is that City College gives you the housing that you need. If you go to DC, though, if you're in the city, you're on your own. But nonetheless, they give you a little stipend at the end, whatever. But these are unpaid internships. So at this point, I'm at a crossroad. I just failed out of grad school. But I still got this opportunity in DC. Like as my man Rico say, yo, DC is where it's at, B. You know what I'm saying? So I still have this opportunity. So now it's like, do I still go to DC? So I'm looking up roommates, roomsters, all those roommate websites and all of that stuff. Looking up everything you could think of, right? Shout out to my cousin, Swag King Cole, the homie. Love my guy. He put me on. On Facebook, I saw that he lived in the DMV, so I reached out to him, and I'm like, yo, I got an internship. Is it cool if I stay? He gave me a week, you know, so I had a week to figure things out. But the back and forth, because I was going to have to quit my job in the city and go to DC for the summer. And now it's like, before I was going to be able to chill, save, you know, with the money I had saved. And then now it was like, oh, well, you're going to have to go out there and get a job. And if you really want to make this work, now things get sweeter. So I told my job I'm leaving. And I told them, oh, I'm going to stay. Because I'm like, I'm not going out there for what? Like, I'm not a part of that program anymore. The best decision that I made, and shout out to my mentor, shout out to Coach Bill, shout out to all the OGs that I have in my life. They were like, make it work, Zoe. You know, look at yourself and remember to bet on yourself. And him telling me that was why I tell people to bet on themselves. You know, so now I bet on myself. I just failed out of grad school, but I took that opportunity and I still took the internship that I gained, right? I went out to DC to live with my cousin. As I'm in DC, 2 days before my birthday, this is June 9th, 2016, right? City College hit me up that they had already paid for the room that I was originally supposed to stay in. But if I do this if I do weekly assignments, host these events and stuff like that with alums in DC, I could stay at George Washington, GW, for free. So here I am. I just quit my job. I'm living with my cousin for a week. I shot my shot. I bet on myself to go intern for Jumpstart in DC. And boom, here it is. I can stay at GW for free now. Now I'm having the time of my life. I'm in DC. I just turned 24. City College blessed me with a $4,000 stipend. And all of that was from betting on myself. But what happens now? Now I take coaching even more serious because that's what I'm doing at the time, right? Next year, coach of the year. Next year, professional baseball. Next year, championship in Austria. Now I'm a teacher, live in the city, got a son, all of that. So it's like some of those defining moments may not have happened in your favor at the moment. You may not have thought like, why am I, sometimes you ask yourself like, why me? Why am I going through this? But there's a reason for that. You just have to be able to see the why. So like I said earlier, sometimes there was a skill that you were going to need later on down the road that you were supposed to take from that failing situation. I didn't know how to cook. I learned how to cook in DC. Couple months later, I was living in Austria. Guess what? By myself. Had to cook for my own meal. So it's like that's one of those skills that came with me. So if you could look at the bigger picture and really see the why behind things and not really play the victim and guilt yourself like, oh my God, not me again. But really see sometimes you missing an opportunity, getting fired or failure could have been the littest thing that ever happened to you because look what your life has become since. I bet on myself. And look, I've only flourished since, you know. If I would have sulked, then who would I be today? 62 episodes of Conversations with Zoe later. Talk to me real nice, extra nice. Please like, subscribe, comment. This is the time I failed out of grad school. I'm sure you failed as well. Embrace that failure. And look what your life has become since. Peace and love. Happy week. Happy life. Keep it positive. Happy Black History Month. Stay black.